What's going on, everybody? It is Jared with Bikes Online here. As you know, we just launched a completely new line of bikes on the website, aka Superior Bikes. And what we'll be doing today is more of an unscripted ride along and review of their XP hardtail series. More specifically, I'll be aboard the XP919, which is a 100mm front travel cross-country hardtail. And I can't tell you the last time I've been on a bike like this, so I think it's gonna be pretty interesting. Let's get into it. So we're getting on this trail, which is 100% cross-country in nature, just to start getting to know this chassis, how it feels, how it performs, and that sort of thing. So right off the bat, I can already tell you the rolling resistance is next to nothing. This thing is super zippy. I'm not used to tires like this at all. I think these are the Schwalbe Racing Ralphs. They are a wire bead, which means they're not tubeless compatible. So I am running tubes today, but it feels fine. Like I said, the bike's super fast. Much different than what I'm used to. If you can hear that, that's the 12-speed Shimano drivetrain running. It's almost all Dior, it looks like, aside from the derailleur mechanism, which is a step above at SLX. But it is a full Shimano drivetrain, including the chain, which gives you that full hyperglide sensation as you're shifting through gears. It's ridiculously smooth and crispy. Very efficient pedaling so far, thanks to the hardtail format. The fork up front is a RockShox Judy 100mm with the inclusion of a remote lockout, which is a piece that I've actually never used on any bike. I'll try to find an opportunity to use it today. Now, along with the inclusion of the remote lockout, it should be noted that this bike does not come with a dropper post, nor does it have the routing accommodations for such. However, there are workarounds. You could technically do an external routed dropper post if you wanted to, or even wireless. But I think when they designed the bike, they forewent the idea of a dropper because, again, this is a cross-country hardtail. And boy, is it fast. Faster than I am, for sure. Like, I don't think I'm confident enough to give this thing all the beans. The cockpit on the bike is not exceptionally wide. I don't know the width of the bars, but I'm gonna guess they're somewhere around 760. The stem reach is a little bit longer than what you would see on a trail bike. Again, all of this is for the sake of being an efficient, fast, zippy cross-country bike. The steering input for me can feel a little bit twitchy because I'm used to, slack head angles, short reach stems, that sort of thing. The way this one's set up, it steers on a dime, which is actually pretty cool. All right, I'm going up a nice little climb here. Let's lock out the front and see if it makes a difference. So we've got the front locked out. There's definitely a reduction in bob. You wouldn't think you'd get a lot of bob from the front, but now that I'm doing this, I can feel what it feels like. And definitely more efficient in climbing, but also a little bit more jarring as you're coming over this chattery stuff. But if speed's the priority, it's probably worth it. I feel like we're covering a lot of ground very quickly. So who's this bike for? If you're looking to get into the cross-country race scene and not blow a massive hole in your pocket, I think this chassis is a great place to start. Drivetrain is rock solid, forks rock solid. Again, the only thing you may come across is the inclusion of a dropper post, but it can be done. But you may not even need it. Oh yeah, this bike is fast. All right, I'm putting the pedals down now and trying to get a little more speed through this section. Holy crap. Yeah, it's a rocket. I'm going uphill right now, completely ripping. So sick. If only I could keep that up for the entire trail, right? Whew. So Superior has engineered the frame set of this bike with what they're calling their ultralight alloy. And I can confirm it is ultralight. This bike is, although I haven't weighed it, this bike is really light to me. Tight switchback, Twitchy steering there is a big advantage. Just turn right in. One of the things I noticed on this bike when I was filming the B-roll that I'm really a fan of is the inclusion of Shimano branded hubs. A lot of times when you get a Shimano group, you'll be missing a few of the other key components that go along with that. The fact that this bike even has the hubs, you really get a full Shimano group set here. Moving on to the rest of the componentry on this bicycle. It has Shimano's MT410 brakes, which to me feels very similar to the Deore level brakes, just with the longer 2-finger levers. They're very powerful, very pronounced bite point. They do exactly what they need to do. And they are definitely a step above than the MT200 series that comes on a lot of hardtails within this price point. Just to reiterate, guys and gals, if I haven't said this already, but I think that I have, this bike is crazy zippy. Around corners, the slightest steering input just whips it around. And when it comes to climbing, you don't have to put in a lot of energy to get the bike moving. A lot of that has to do with the 29-inch wheels, the great drivetrain, the intelligent tire spec, and the fact that the bike is pretty stinking light. So let's talk more about the modern amenities that Superior has included on this bike. One of the big ones is the fact that you have through axles, both front and rear, and they're both boost standard, which is, you know, pretty much the standard in the modern era. So any fork you would want to slap on here, or any wheel set you would want to slap on this bike, would be easy to adapt. You wouldn't have to scramble around to try to find some strange standard to make it work. The bike does come with lock-on grips, which is nice. I even like the way that they feel, like the texture and pattern that they put on it. It's very ergonomic. So that's a nice inclusion. The saddle on the bike is a physique. I don't know the best way to say that. But for me, it's comfortable, but saddles are like pants. What fits me may not fit you. But either way, a physique saddle, it's name brand, it's nice, good piece of kit. I'll have to take this thing on some chunkier stuff in a bit, as well as some jumps, just to see how it feels. Obviously, I'm not gonna get into drop the hammer or anything huge. That's not this bike's intention whatsoever. But I'll try to push it a little bit to see what it can get into. Just for funsies, for science. Yeah, it's incredible. Like, I'm not finding myself shifting gears as much as I normally do. When climbing, I can kind of just stay in whatever gear and crank. This 100 millimeter RockShox Judy definitely does its job. I have it set according to the chart for my body weight. 100 millimeters is definitely the shortest travel fork I've ridden, I think, ever. But considering the circumstance, it's pretty good. All right, so we're coming into a line that's labeled black. I don't know why. Let's see. A little tight. What do we got? Oh, some chunk, that's good. Let's see how the Judy does. Feels fine. I may have just pinged the rim. Something to be aware of there. Oop, pedal strike. Yeah, I'm in the wrong gear. That's what happens when you don't know the trail. But no, this is perfectly doable if you know the trail. So two of the standout things, again, as I'm riding this bike more and more, climbing and brakes. The brakes are so good, which is really nice. This feels just as efficient as a gravel bike I owned in the past, which is pretty remarkable. So I think that's another thing it could do really well. So if you're gonna dabble with maybe commuting, light trails, gravel events, cross-country events, and single track, I think this bike would be an excellent one to consider. Oh look, a blue alternate. Let's do it. A little bit of tech. Yeah. Not too bad at all, honestly. All right. So there you go. It can dabble in some chunky stuff. Be interesting to see how much chunky stuff. But again, I'm trying to review this bike today. I don't want to pop a tire because I am not the lightest rider by any stretch. Let's pop over it. Yeah. Again, I'm not really changing gears. I'm kind of riding this thing as a single speed. Efficiency is definitely there. I think that is the key word for this bike, efficient. And I think that's the end of this stretch of trail, but of course we're gonna go get into some more. So let's see what this thing's got. Okay, so as aforementioned, I wanna try some flow trails on this thing. Now this might get a little bit outside of the realm of what this bike is intended for, but you know, we gotta have some fun. So let's see what we can do. I'm gonna pedal up to a trail here that starts off kind of mellow, and then the jumps get a little bit bigger. Nothing massive, but definitely more than what this bike is intended for. So hang tight, let's get into it. All right, officially pedaling in for some flow trail. First jump, feels good. This one's a little bigger. Nice. Ooh, a little bit of mud. Whew. Some whoops. Slow down for these, they come at you fast. Oh yeah, the bike feels perfectly composed, easy to manage, and quite fast. 100 mil travel is more than adequate for most of what happens here in Bentonville, to be honest with you. But that's because we have a lot of hand-laid rock. You wouldn't want to venture down any enduro type lines with this guy. But for this kind of stuff, it's great. Whew. All right, here's the spicier part we talked about. This is an alternate line here in Bentonville, rated blue, just revised with some new jumps. Let's see how we do on the XP919 cross-country hardtail. First jump. Woo, a little sketchy, but we're doing fine. Just not used to the bike. Yoo! Let's go. Nah, this thing feels awesome. We'll do one more round. All right, round two, let's get it. XP919, what can you do? First jump, no problem. There we go, that felt way better. Woo! Super. Whew. Yeah, nah, this thing's awesome. Great bike. It feels very sturdy navigating through those jump lines. No loss in confidence from the bike itself. Again, just having to kind of get used to the geo. I'm always on the more long and slack trail bikes. But XP919, kicking some serious booty. Let's go see if it can do a drop, shall we? Yeah, let's try a drop. This one's gonna be about 4 to 5 feet, depending how deep you send it. Probably gonna be more along the lines of 4. Let's see how we do. Pedaling in. Ah, yeah, perfectly fine. I'm happy with that. I think that's a good note to end on. Let's get back to the car and wrap up our day. All right, friends, just as a quick close, I think the bike did a great job today. Really, really solid option for an entry-level hardtail scenario, especially if you're in the market for something more in the cross-country to trail side of things. If you have any questions, make sure to drop those in the comments below, like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.